Gifts of a Green Mother. The herald listened to the wind as it blew through the trees and nodded its head. It had been given a task, and working in its little garden could wait. It left its garden, perfect and overgrown and wild, and took up a satchel made of hide and sinew. The watcher set off along the path that wasn't always there, leaving scattered leaves in its wake. First towards the great black oak to claim one of its mighty boughs, along the way plodding along the path that wasn't always there in the forest that was the queen, it would sing. Sing to the multitudes of beasts and plants, sing of the turning of the tide, of a time when broken hearts would be mended. It would sing and it would gather fruits and herbs, nuts and leavings. Then onto the circle that wasn't a circle, near the border of the forest. The watcher would sing no more once it had claimed a bough of the black oak. Instead, it would watch. The herald would watch the perfect multitude of beasts and plants as they grew and changed, as they overwhelmed their neighbours and clawed upwards for the sunlight that wasn't in the realm of the Green Mother. It would come to the circle that wasn't a circle, and it would pass through and deliver the greetings and offers of the Queen. Then it would return to its garden and see what might be done to encourage it to grow wilder still. Overview. A herald of Yhornegrah brings news of boons offered by their mistress. Yhornegrah is under the enmity of the Conclave, so each of these boons come with serious legal ramifications. As described in the secret meeting Wind of Fortune, not long after the autumn equinox, Magistrate Nim Farkas is called to the Imperial Regio to deal with an emissary of the Green Mother. Named Watcher of Fragrant Leaves, the little herald has apparently come as a response to the plenipotentiary missive of the Archmage of Spring, Ibis Briarheart. While disinterested in several of the points the Archmage raised with her, the Verdant Queen offers a number of boons to Imperial citizens prepared to accept them. While some may address points the Spring Archmage raised, others appear to be more spontaneous. They include an offer to secure her aid in uniting the Forlorn Hearts, but at the cost of performing an interdicted ritual, a boon that would allow the malign curse over Brachelion to be removed, with significant consequences for the Empire and potentially further aid, the ability to brew a potent magical substance in a churning cauldron, a chance for owners of farms, forests and manor sites to receive some of the Eternal's largesse in the coming season, and additional potence for certain enchantments used on orcs and those with the Briar lineage, or humans who might wish to gain that lineage. As Rootwinder is under enmity, following several attempts to harm the Empire, there are considerable challenges for anyone who wishes to partake of these offers. Unless the Imperial Conclave chooses to change her alignment, something that may lead to further problems with this unpredictable Eternal of the Spring Realm, it is against the law to accept any of the Green Mother's gifts. The Green Mother Problem. Yhornegrah is under the enmity of the Imperial Conclave. Bargaining with an Eternal under enmity is a serious crime. Interacting in any way with Yhornegrah is an additionally serious crime for any sorcerer. The Lady of Bark and Bramble is a declared enemy of the Empire. She was initially placed under enmity after evidence came to light that her agents were attempting to rouse the Forlorn of Tharunin, and it soon became clear that she was heavily involved with the efforts of the heirs of Taruniel to unleash doom. Her heralds fought alongside the heirs and gave their magical support to the traitors whose meddling might, in theory at least, have destroyed the Empire. She is also known to offer her patronage to the Druge, although to what degree is not certain. The offers made by Yhornegrah are not secret, however. While the magistrate Nim Farkas, who spoke with Watcher of Fragrant Leaves, cautions every Imperial magician to respect the law, the civil service are not permitted to conceal the offers that have been made. It is possible that the Imperial Conclave may choose to remove enmity from Yhornegrah, in which case there would be no legal restriction on accepting these boons unless one were a sorcerer. It is illegal for sorcerers to interact with Eternals or their heralds regardless of their alignment. Magistrates are at pains to remind the magicians of the Empire that unless Conclave removes enmity, anyone, including the Archmage themselves, who takes one of Yhornegrah's boons is committing a serious crime. They will seek to prosecute anyone who can be shown to have accepted one of these boons, and that the repercussions of doing so are likely to be severe. They also remind Imperial magicians that when one calls directly on the power of an Eternal, that Eternal generally knows who has done so and what that power is used for. Anyone who accepts her magical boons risks attracting the attention of the Green Mother. With regard to one of the offers made by Bloodbark, the magistrates point out that enchantments cast on the entire Empire are also illegal. While the Conclave might endorse the plan to awaken the trees of Brokeliand, doing so with the use of an object provided by an enemy Eternal would still be a crime and would lead to an investigation of those involved. The Watcher of Fragrant Leaves make it clear to Magistrate Farkas that these legal problems are no concern of the Queen of the Forest. If mortal beings want to complicate their own lives with such inane restrictions, then that is their own outlook. Viridian Hallows. Yurnagra is intrigued by Imperial interest in uniting the Forlorn Hearts. If the Empire demonstrates their sincerity, she offers her aid in this endeavour. Performance of Maiden's Gift with Dragonbone causes the ritual to provide Glom's bark rather than Realm's Root. This substance originates with Yurnagra and is subject to interdiction due to enmity. This opportunity is only available during the winter solstice. According to the Herald of Bark Spawner, the Spring Archmage has claimed that the Empire intends to connect the Forlorn Hearts and complete the great work of the Terunial. Yurnagra is apparently intrigued that the Empire seems to have experienced a change of heart. Only recently, they fought hard to prevent the heirs of Terunial from achieving just this goal, and, in the process, even killed one of the Queen of the Wild's favoured children. However, the nature of life is change, and ultimately, the one who sways and stands is pleased that the Empire has come to terms with the nature of the Forlorn, and is ready to consummate the gift of endless bounty the Terunial sought. The Green Mother is not a fool, but is willing to provide aid to the Empire as long as their goals are in parallel. But, in light of recent events, she requires action from the magicians of the Empire if they are to earn her gifts. In return for her aid, the Green Mother requires that a Coven use Hallow of the Green World to flood the Empire with the power of the Spring Realm, and allow her children to roam the Empire. It must be done during the winter solstice, but Yurnagra has no doubt Imperial magicians can manage the feat. It has been done twice before in recent memory after all, during the Spring Equinox 380 and the Winter Solstice 384. The Imperial Conclave has used their warding magic to prevent Yurnagra's offspring from entering the Empire. Even if Hallow of the Green World were cast, the ward that enmity creates would keep her and her children from bringing their green blessings to the lands within Imperial borders that so keenly require it. As such, the Imperial Conclave must either remove the enmity that they have placed on her, or the magicians performing the ritual must explicitly invite her in with ritual magic. Yurnagra has little patience for the Conclave and its strictures. As such, she presents a boon to the magicians of the Empire who seek communion with the Primal Forest. During the winter solstice, she will allow any coven that performs the clever ritual called Maiden's Gift to gain a tiny amount of her power. If the magicians performing the ritual place a measure of Dragonbone in the container alongside a dram of Realm's Root, Yurnagra will exchange them both with a portion of Glom's bark. 1 dram of this rare material for each measure of Dragonbone and dram of Realm's Root that the magicians have sacrificed. If there are any leftover Dragonbone or Realm's Root after the exchange, then they will be returned. According to the Watcher of Fragrant Leaves, Glom's bark can be used to empower spring enchantments. Not only does it provide an amount of mana towards the casting of certain spring enchantments, including Hallow of the Green World, but it empowers a magician who has used it to work such enchantments more easily. In addition, and more importantly from the point of view of the Eternal, if 1 or more doses of Glom's bark is used to support a casting of Hallow of the Green World, it will allow her servants to bypass the warding provided by enmity, allowing them to walk freely within Imperial bounds. If this is done during the winter solstice, then Treecaller will provide aid to the Empire in their efforts to join the Forlorn Hearts. If they do not, she will offer Imperial magicians no assistance in their endeavour. The hearts will be joined in time one way or another. They have waited over 1,000 years, they can wait a little longer. Glom's bark. If you plan to take the boon Yurnagra is offering, you will need a suitable Fizzrep for the resultant Glom's bark. A pouch containing wood shavings, moss, or even just grass is ideal. The Glumsbark itself is provided in the form of a typical rip-on-use card. The only way to find out exactly what it does is to use it. Strangling Blight. Yornagra wishes to see the Wither the Seed curse removed from Broceliande. She offers a boon to the Spring Archmage that she says will help remove the curse. It requires a performance of Thunderous Tread of the Trees. Removing the curse with the aid of Yornagra presents serious dangers. This offer of the bow is only available during the winter solstice, but the opportunity it provides lasts as long as the bow does. The Watcher of Fragrant Leaves claims that Archmage Ibis's missive spoke of blight, alongside talk of an ending of other realms which the Verdant One has no interest in. There is a blight that Yornagra cares about, and that is the one that strangles lush Broceliande. Just over 3 years ago, the monstrous Wither the Seed curse was laid over the ancient woodland. The Queen of the Forest is capable and willing to offer her aid, but it would still require a powerful coven of spring ritualists to remove the curse. The Watcher has bought the boon, a bough from the black oak, for the Empire to examine. It looks innocuous, appearing to be nothing more than a fallen tree branch, but Magistrate Farkas is able to examine the power it contains with Detect Magic. The bough contains a power similar to a cartographer's eye, but more powerful. To use it, a coven must lay Thunderous Tread of the Trees on one of Semaholm, Astolat, the Barrens, Rykos, or Cassinia. If the boon is activated by shattering the fallen branch during the ritual, then the magic of the Spring Realm will empower the ritual. That will cause the rampaging trees to spread into Broceliande as well, where the servants of the Green Mother would empower them to remove the cursed blight from the ancient forest. The Watcher informs the Magistrate that if the Empire does use the power of the Black Oak to remove Wither the Seed from Broceliande, Yornagra will send her servants to Sarengrave and find a way to help the Navarre, specifically free the Valorn of Bentadol from its captivity. The Druge are unwilling to do so, and the Queen of the Forest is losing its patience with them. She is aware, however, that the Navarre have recently launched their own expedition into Bentadol, and if the Empire truly wishes to unite the Valorn hearts, then they must include the Sarengrave as well. The boon Yornagra offers is not without cost, however. The awoken trees would ravage whatever territory the curse would cast on, but inevitably they would also rouse the Valorn in Broceliande. The presence of the Brock would help to blunt this attack, but there would still be a risk of losing Borsdell or Ilariel to the Valorn, depending on which way the Valorn went. It would require Imperial heroes to put their lives on the line to help defend the steadings of Broceliande if the curse was removed in this way. If the boon is taken and the ritual cast, then further information will be presented in the winds for the spring equinox. If the Archmage of Spring or one of their heralds wants the boon, then they can request it at any time during the winter solstice by casting Operate Portal at the Imperial Regio and explicitly asking Yornagras for their gift. She will provide only a single burgeon of the Great Tree in this manner, but she will give it to the first magician in possession of any of the 3 parts of the Archmage's regalia who asks for it. Cauldron of Pale Honey. The Green Mother offers a boon to any magician prepared to invoke her power while performing Churning Cauldron of Bravash. A measure of ambergelt included in the ritual allows 7 true vervain to be transformed into milk sap. Any amount of true vervain can be transformed by a single ritual. Unlike the normal casting of Churning Cauldron of Bravash, the herbs used are not returned. Accepting this boon and owning or using milk sap is illegal. This opportunity is only available during the winter solstice, but the milk sap remains viable until it is used. The Watcher of Fragrant Leaves speaks with a whispery but sincere tone of other matters. Yornagra is saddened that a gulf has grown between the children of the Empire and her own children. She loves life in all its infinite varieties and strangeness, and it brings her sorrow that the magicians of the Empire are separated from her by the jealousy of the Navarre and the ignorance of the Imperial Conclave. She is a font of life and energy and offers a little of that to the spring magicians of the Empire. During the winter solstice, any coven that performs Churning Cauldron of Bravash can use their magic to contact the Green Mother. The performance of the ritual must include invocations of Yhornegrah by at least 3 of her common names, and each contributor must willingly sacrifice a drop of blood into the container that is the target of the ritual. Dripped onto ambergelt, which is placed in the container, 1 measure for every 7 grams of true vervain, the cauldron will churn as usual, but at the completion the herbs and ambergelt placed in the cauldron will have been transformed into a dose of milk sap, a milky white liquid with intensely sweet floral scent. It provides similar benefits to vital honey, but it is apparently important not to drink it. It is effective when smeared on the face and palms. This boon is available to the magicians of the Empire during the winter solstice only. Magistrate Farkas points out that while Yhornegrah is under enmity, it is a crime to accept this boon, and given that the substance is broadly unknown in the Empire, the magistrates must assume that any of it that is found at Anvil is the result of someone having undertaken this ritual. Milk sap. If you plan to take the boon Yhornegrah is offering, you will need a suitable fizzrep for the resultant milk sap. The obvious way to create one is to put a little bit of milk or white paint into tap water and mix it up a little. The milk sap itself is provided in the form of a typical rip-on-use card. The only way to find out exactly what it does is to use it. Chaos. Yhornegrah offers a blood amber boon to the casting of certain enchantments. If the boon is used with blessings of new spring, rampant growth, fountained bounty, or woven strands of life, the targeted resource will produce strange products from the spring realm itself. Several of these boons can be made permanent using Ilium for significantly fewer rings than usually required. These boons can only be taken advantage of during the winter solstice. Yhornegrah is an eternal who embodies the fecundity and savagery of the spring realm, but she is equally a creature of chaos. Her gifts often have unforeseen consequences or provide unpredictable boons. The primal forest is a wellspring of wonderful plants and beasts, and those that dwell in the vast domains of the Great Gardener are said to be the most magical and variable of all. Taking the form of juice, fruit, sap, bark, or other natural substances, these boons are often referred to as Donna Horte. The term comes from the old Assavean name for the boons of Yhornegrah used by scholars of spring magic, the Donna Horte Myriabilis, or the marvellous gifts of the garden. During the winter solstice, Yhornegrah intends to share her largesse with the Empire on a scale rarely seen before, provided Imperial magicians are prepared to reach out to her and request those boons. She will not give these gifts directly, but allow them to grow naturally in the fertile soil of the Empire's farms, forests, and even manor sites. Donna Horte. Milk sap and glumsbark, already mentioned, are examples of Donna Horte. These boons come in a myriad of different shapes and flavours, but they always take the form of natural substances: fruit, juice, sap, flakes of moss, shavings of bark, shredded leaves, and so on. Some other familiar Donna Horte include Orn sap, a dark red juice with the consistency of blood that provides a great boost to physical stamina and fortitude; Morn salve, a thick light green sap that treats many ailments of the body; Thorn sting, a vicious waxy honey-like substance that inflames violence and grants combat prowess; Queen's leaf, oddly shaped leaves that when crushed and the juice applied to the wrists and throat grants magical healers a reserve of inner power; Salar moss, a kind of moss that heartens the body and is particularly effective when used by briars, and, in sufficient quantity, can sometimes cause someone to take on briar lineage. Various forms of mage petal, gathered from flowers of various colours, that provide additional facility when performing certain kinds of spring ritual depending on their shade. And sunfoil, a unique flowering herb that possesses all of the qualities of those herbs familiar to herbalists and apothecaries. Blood amber boon. Yhornegrah's boons relate to several rituals, but the method of asking for it remains the same in each case. During the winter solstice, a combination of ambergelt, invocation of Yhornegrah, and spilled blood draws the power of the Eternal. If even one contributor uses this boon, the entire ritual and the resulting enchantments are changed. The ritual, Netweaver's Eye, can determine if a magician participated in a ritual using Yhornegrah's boon, even if they didn't use the ambergelt themselves. See below. In each case, the boon begins with the substitution. To take advantage of the boon, a contributor who has the appropriate ritual mastered must name Yhornegrah by at least 3 common names, and shed a few drops of blood. They then may substitute Ambergelt for crystal mana when contributing to the casting. Every 2 measures of Ambergelt spent count as 1 crystal mana towards the ritual. The usual limit of how many crystal mana a character contribute, equal to their ranks in Spring Lore, applies. If even 1 contributor does this, the entire ritual is altered. Every target experiences the altered effect. It's possible to do this even when using a Coven stone, such as an Amberglass orb. The invocation of Yhornegraw and the shedding of blood make it clear that you are using the Eternal's boon rather than the magic item. OOC note: you should make sure the referees know that you've cast the ritual to take advantage of the boon so that it can be recorded in the notes section for that ritual. Chaos on the farm. Yhornegraw offers to empower castings of Blessing of New Spring. Doing so requires using Ambergelt in the ritual and invoking the Eternal specifically by 3 of her names. The enchantment reduces the amount of money produced by a farm but provides a bonus, Donna Horte. Accepting this boon is a crime while Yhornegraw is under enmity. The Green Mother dislikes the farms of the Empire, it seems. They are too regimented, too keen to remove anything they see as lacking value. During the winter solstice, it's traditional for the Empire's magicians to invoke the enchantment of Blessing of New Spring on their farms. During the solstice, Yhornegraw will provide a boon to any farm owner who wishes to accept her blessing, assuming they can find a coven to assist them. The boon applies to Blessing of New Spring. If even 1 contributor uses Ambergelt in the casting, each target farm will receive Yhornegraw's boon. The resultant enchantment will shift and change. Farms enchanted in this way will grow wild and strange, with peculiar crops or animals possessing odd characteristics. Instead of receiving 10 additional rings each season for the rest of the year, each farm so enchanted will provide 26 fewer rings, but also a Donna Horte, a consumable item infused with spring magic. This change persists even if the enchantment is later superseded by Strong Ox Golden Sun and Gathering the Harvest. Those rituals will have their usual effect, but the farm will produce 26 fewer rings and 1 random Donna Horte each season. Chaos in the forests. Yhornegraw offers to empower castings of rampant growth. Taking this boon requires using Ambergelt in the ritual and invoking the Eternal specifically by 3 of her names. The enchantment provides peculiar Donna Horte rather than the normal production. Accepting this boon is a crime while Yhornegraw is under enmity. There is a wilderness in even the most regimented orchard, and Yhornegraw is as interested in forests as she is in farms. During the winter solstice, she offers her boon to the Empire's tender of forests as well as their farm owners. This boon requires the casting of rampant growth. If Ambergelt is used in the casting, the transformation will be significant. All the energy of the ritual will go towards making the chosen forest wilder and more chaotic, infusing much of its production with spring magic. A forest will produce 2 fewer measures of its usual material, but 6 unpredictable Donna Horte. That is, they will be of several different types. The effect will last for a single season, but may leave the forest marked with the spark of chaos ever after. OOC note: this spark of chaos has no game effect. The forest owner is encouraged to roleplay that they sometimes find odd fruit or peculiar moss in their forest after the enchantment fades. Chaos in Urizen. 2 rituals of Urizen lore allow the magic of mana sites to be specifically directed towards producing food and herbs. Yhornegraw offers to empower castings of Fountain's Bounty and Woven Strands of Life. The enchantment provides Donna Horte instead of the normal bonus production. Accepting this boon is a crime while Yhornegraw is under enmity. Yhornegraw offers a final boon, but one that relies on the complicity of the notoriously straight-laced Urizen. Their nation lore contains 2 rituals that use spring magic to bring growing, vibrant bounty to mana sites: Fountain's Bounty and Woven Strands of Life. During the winter solstice, she offers her magical aid in performance of both rituals. Any magician who takes advantage of the boon will find the enchantment altered by Yhornegraw's power. The exact effect depends on which ritual was cast. Fountain's Bounty: instead of the usual production, the enchanted mana site provides 1 fewer crystal mana, but also provides 5 Donna Horte and a measure of milk sap. Woven Strands of Life: transforms the mana site into a wild, magically infused garden of bushes, creepers, and even trees. Instead of producing herbs, the transformed site provides 3 milk sap and 6 Donahorti to the owner. Harnessing chaos. During the winter solstice, enchantments warped by Yhornegrah can be made permanent more easily. Making one of these enchantments permanent costs 1 Ilium per magnitude rather than 3. This is a risky act that may have legal, spiritual, and malign consequences down the line. Yhornegrah is providing significant boons to the forests and mana sites of the Empire by applying her chaotic touch to mundane magics. She has placed no restrictions against those who wish to permanently receive her boons. Any one of the rituals described here, as long as they are cast using Yhornegrah's Blood Amber boon, may be made permanent with Ilium. Rather than costing Ilium equal to 3 times the magnitude of the ritual, however, during the winter solstice, the ritual can be made permanent with Ilium equal to the magnitude of the ritual. The Ilium must be included in the casting. Bear in mind that this is a criminal act while Yhornegrah is under enmity, and that the Donahorti are illegal items while the Eternal is an enemy of the Empire. The target, forest or mana site will be permanently warped and mutated by the chaotic magic of spring, and, as well as the mundane legal and spiritual consequences this may incur, it will also provide a foothold for the Green Mother in the mortal realm that she may exploit later. It's not possible to use this benefit for Blessing of New Spring because of the peculiar way that enchantment works. Law amid chaos. The Silent Bell could be charged to seek out those who had taken Yhornegrah's boons in 1 or more nations. It would cost 50 thrones to order the Imperial Magistrates to investigate which farms, forest and mana sites had taken one of the boons. These boons alter farms, forest and mana sites. It would not be immediately apparent who had taken advantage of the boons, and their power does not linger on the owner of the resource sufficiently to be divined with detect magic. The effects of the ritual fade within the season, so a statement of principle would be insufficient to find out if anyone had taken advantage of them unless they were made permanent. There are a few options for the agents of law and order to acquire evidence one of these enchantments have been cast. If the Silent Bell is specifically instructed to investigate, they will provide a list of every farm, forest or mana site that is touched by Yhornegrah to the Cardinal at the spring equinox. What the Cardinal chose to do with this list would be at their discretion. The Cardinal may pick a single nation for the Silent Bell to assess, and for each additional nation they will need to provide 4 thrones to help support the action. OOC note, the money would need to be in the Cardinal's pack, and they would need to email plot@profountdecisions.co.uk after the event. If there were insufficient funds, the Silent Bell would work in the order the nations were mentioned by the Cardinal. The Imperial Senate might instruct the magistrates to prioritise providing a list of farms, forest and mana sites affected by these warped rituals. This would incur a one-time fee to the Imperial Treasury of 50 thrones and result in a list delivered to the throne at the start of the spring equinox. It might also result in the initiation of legal proceedings against anyone who received one of these boons, depending on the status of Yhornegrah during the winter solstice. An eye for chaos. Netweaver's Eye can be used to determine if a magician suspected of using Yhornegrah's ritual boons has done so. Several of the boons of Yhornegrah involve warping rituals by invoking her power. During the winter solstice, the ritual Netweaver's Eye can divine the touch of Yhornegrah on a magician who has participated in such a transformed ritual. The caster of Netweaver's Eye must select spring magic as the target of their divination, and if the magician has contributed to a warped ritual, the referee will provide that information, only that they bear the touch of Yhornegrah, not how many or precisely what rituals were performed. The number of spring rituals they have cast is learned as normal. Bear in mind that it does not matter if the ritualists themselves use the boon of Yhornegrah. Everyone who contributed to the performance of the ritual is equally marked. This specifically identifies if a ritualist has taken part in a Blessings of New Spring, Rampant Growth, Fountain's Bounty, Woven Strands of Life, Howl of the Green World, or Thunderous Tread of the Trees that invoked a boon of Yhornegrah. Possessing such a boon, using milk sap in a ritual, casting a personal enchantment in which someone consumed vital honey or milk sap to gain additional power, or using other items or rituals related to Yhornegrah do not mark the ritualists as having drawn on Yhornegrah's power. Favoured children. Yhornegrah offers a gift specifically to those with the Briar lineage or who wish to gain it. and to those of the orc species. She also offers a way for an unlineaged human to take on the briar lineage. These boons require a dose of vital honey or milk sap to be consumed by the target as the ritual is cast on them. Milk sap or vital honey used in this way does not contribute towards the casting of the ritual directly. These opportunities are only available during the winter solstice. Yornagra has a particular affection for those touched by the realm of spring, those with the briar lineage. She also appreciates the strength and vitality of those who cannot bear briar lineage but can still embrace the power of spring, the orcs. During the winter solstice, Yornagra offers her boon to those who have been marked by the spring realm, or by those who feel their true nature is best reflected in seeking a closer alignment with the primal forest. Briar Boon. Yornagra offers strength and vitality to those touched by the spring realm. During the winter solstice, use of vital honey or milk sap while receiving skin of bark, blood of amber will provide additional benefits. The nature of these benefits can be detected with the detect enchantment function of detect magic. The ritual's skin of bark, blood of amber provides a powerful enchantment to a subject, granting them great reserves of endurance. It is also known to strengthen the impact of briar lineage, at least for a time. During the winter solstice, the following additional powers is granted by this ritual. If a human with no lineage consumes a pawn of vital honey or milk sap while being targeted by performance of skin of bark, blood of amber, the ritual may have an additional effect. Over the coming season, that human may be transformed into a briar. This cannot be done by force. The magical transformation will fail if someone is tricked or, out of character, does not wish to become a briar. The ritual has all of its other effects, and the only way to complete the transformation is to end the event still under the effect of the enchantment. If a human character who already has briar lineage consumes a pawn of vital honey or milk sap while being targeted by the ritual, they may draw on the power of Yornagra. Instead of the usual 3 ranks of endurance it normally provides, the briar receives 4 ranks of endurance. If they have hero points, they gain an additional benefit. With 10 seconds of appropriate role-playing, they can spend a hero point to remove the venom condition from themselves. The bonus lasts as long as the enchantment does. In addition, they can choose to permanently increase the amount of bark, thorns, or flowers they have. There is a drawback to taking this boon. As long as the enchantment lasts, the lingering mark of Yornagra can be determined through use of the detect magic spell. If anyone uses discern enchantment on a target of one of these rituals, it will reveal that they bear a mark of the primal forest, as well as whatever personal enchantment they might be under, if any. Orc Blood. Yornagra offers a reserve of power to orcs of the Empire. During the winter solstice, an orc targeted by irrepressible monkey spirit can consume a dose of vital honey or milk sap to gain an additional boon. The nature of these benefits can be detected with the detect enchantment function of detect magic. Yornagra offers a slightly different boon to orc citizens of the Empire. Rather than skin of bark, blood of amber, her boon can be gained through the use of the ritual unfailing resilience of the kudzu, perhaps better known to Imperial magicians as irrepressible monkey spirit. If an orc consumes a dose of vital honey or milk sap while being targeted by the ritual, they gain an additional benefit. If they have any of the skills, Cleaving Strike, Mortal Blow, Mighty Strike Down, Relentless, or Unstoppable, then once per day they can use one of those skills without spending a hero point. This is on top of the benefits granted by the ritual with regard to Relentless and Unstoppable, but only if they already have the skills. Methods such as using the potions Indomitable Might or Scar's Strength will work fine with this ritual. As with the boon offered to humans, there is a drawback to accepting the power of Yornagra. As long as the enchantment lasts, the lingering mark of the Eternal can be determined through the use of the detect magic spell. If anyone uses discern enchantment on a target of one of these rituals, it will reveal that they bear a mark of the primal forest, as well as whatever personal enchantment they might be under, if any. A panoply of presents. Yornagra has used the opportunity presented by the plenipotentiary to present an array of offers to Imperial magicians. The bounteous extent of these offers probably reflects something of the nature of Yornagra, but any Eternal could respond to a plenipotentiary in this way. By its very nature, the power of plenipotentiary opens the possibility for an Eternal to communicate with the Empire, even if that Eternal is under enmity. It is not possible to maintain a watertight ward against an Eternal's minions and messages while simultaneously inviting them to meet with the Empire for parley. Yornagra has chosen to make an array of offers, not just to the Archmage of Spring, but to all the magicians of the Empire. The extensive number of offers may be a reflection of the nature of Yornagra. She is, after all, concerned with life in infinite diversity and infinite combinations. In practice, careful historical study by the civil service has confirmed that any Eternal could choose to respond to a plenipotentiary in this way, just most of them choose not to, usually. It is notable, however, that all these offers require Imperial magicians to proactively accept the Queen of the Forest's offers while performing rituals that actively invoke her by name. Despite the plenipotentiary, the power of enmity remains firmly in place. Barkspawner cannot affect rituals performed in the Empire without this invitation, nor can their heralds enter the Empire freely. Further reading: Yornagra, Secret Meeting, 386 YE Winter Wind of Fortune detailing plenipotentiary responses. Wither the Seed, 383 YE Winter Wind of Fortune about removing the blight on Brokeliand.